Hello and welcome. Tonight we have a very special interview with local Full Sail student and amateur director Guillermo Cervantes. Now, Mr. Cervantes, before coming here to Full Sail University, have you had any prior public speaking experience? If so, how did you feel about it? As a matter of fact, I've had some public speaking experience before I came here. When I was younger, my mom would enroll me into academic progress programs during the summer, so I've had about 7 to 8 years of experience in speech and debate and public speaking. Would you say that you are comfortable with your communication skills? Actually, speaking publicly is one of the things I am least self-conscious about. So yes, I am very comfortable with my communication skills. Now, what were your eye contact, your hand gestures, your communication, your volume, and your projection skills during your introductory speech? What was it like? I feel that I utilize each one of these methods in all my speeches pretty well. Now I need to know personally, were you nervous during any one of your speeches? I usually don't get nervous when I'm presenting. I will admit that I get some pre-speech jitters. I'll be nervous to get some butterflies in my stomach, so to speak. But up until the moment I present, as soon as I begin, all that fear kind of just fades away. But the only speech in which I did have some doubt was the persuasive speech, and that's mainly because I didn't feel 100% ready for that, and it was a while since I've done an Ignite before, so if any speech that I was nervous, it would have to have been that one. How do you think the audience responded to your presentations? Did you feel that they were engaged or maintained interest? I felt that the audience was pretty engaged during my speeches. They seemed to have enjoyed it. I've got pretty good feedback afterwards when I would talk to my classmates. They've all seemed to have paid attention pretty well and very closely, enough to the point where they would ask me some questions about specific parts of my speech. So overall, I felt that I did a successful job at engaging the audience and keeping their attention. Now, I'm pretty sure you spent quite an amount of time researching and preparing for your speeches. Were you satisfied with the amount of time and effort you put into it? I was pretty satisfied with the amount of time I spent researching and preparing for all of my speeches. I felt that I was really confident when I got up there, so I felt that I did a good job, to the point where I didn't have any doubts about the topic I was discussing, the information that I've learned, and how I would use that to deliver it. So I felt pretty satisfied with how I went about getting ready for each speech. Tell me about your introductory speech. Did you spend time preparing for that one? To be honest, I actually spent the most amount of time rehearsing my introductory speech. I mean, I have seen The Hangover before countless times, especially that scene that I rehearsed for my monologue, but I just wasn't necessarily prepared to say that in front of other people that weren't my closest friends. Other than that, the persuasive speech and the industry professional, I felt really confident. Granted, I did spend more time after learning from the introductory speech, so I was ready to go by that point. But yeah, the introductory speech was definitely the one speech I spent the most time rehearsing, and it took me a while to get it down, admittedly. In your own words, which speech did you enjoy giving the most? Without a doubt, I enjoyed giving the industry professional speech the most. I enjoyed being able to learn about Kaminsky and just see a couple of his videos. I've never seen Schindler's List, so when I saw a couple of the clips to kind of just get a feel for what kind of feeling or type of shooting he did for that movie, it really just blew me away. So I enjoyed that from start to finish, from researching to presenting. Well then, which speech did you find the most challenging? The speech that was most challenging was, again, the introductory speech, because I tried to get into character when I was presenting that, so I had to get inside Alan's head and try to present it how he would and how he did in the movie. And his style of talking publicly is completely different from mine, completely alien, and I wanted to do it justice, so I had to kind of like bring down my levels a little bit to try to match his, and it was an experience for me because I've never really had any type of acting lessons or anything like that before. That being said, what do you think your biggest delivery challenge was? I don't believe I had a delivery challenge. I think I was pretty confident with that, to be honest. Could you tell us if you've learned anything from watching other people deliver their speech? I think the most important thing that I learned from watching the other speeches is delivery and how my classmates would engage the audience. Some deliveries were really strong, but they weren't really engaging. They were they were reading it straight ahead, so it was kind of very static, where others were pretty engaging, kind of drew you in, but the delivery kind of broke it up because it felt like it wasn't fully confident, and I just used that to try to improve myself. And once again, going back to rehearsing under my breath and whispering to just solidify how I would go and present when it was my turn. Now, in your honest opinion, how would you rate yourself from a scale of 1 to 4? If 4 is being the highest you can get, I think I deserve a 4. Yeah, I mean, I would hope for a 5, but I'll be okay with a 4. Well, lastly, what are your feelings concerning public speaking now that this month is finally over? My concerns, I never really had any to start with when I began here, but I am a little interested to see how I go about delivering the pitch, and I feel that's one's going to be the most key one. I almost feel like I almost wish that we had two different pitches, so that way we could see how we improved from the first one to the second one. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that one especially. Well, before we go, I would just like to thank you one more time, Mr. Cervantes, for coming on and doing this interview. And for those of you at home, I hope you enjoyed yourselves. Well, on behalf of Mr. Cervantes, I'm Guillermo Cervantes, and I hope you've had a nice night.